Hi guys, welcome back to another Matchbox Garage video. I'm Rob, and today I shall be attempting to take this comma pickup Mark VIII from shabby to shiny. This is a very cool little car, number 50. It's a very old one, I'm going to guess from the 50s, and it's got some damage, and it's hardly got any paint left, so let's see what we can do. So we'll start by drilling down the centre of the post, remove the flange and tap that hole. Remember, lubricate the end of your piece. You do not want to snap that in the hole. Whilst using my very handy vise, here is the comma. Now you can see it's another one which has been, I don't know, stamped on perhaps? To be honest, I think in order to break that, you would have to stamp on it really hard, because it actually turned out that that roof is solid. It really is tough. But anyway, it reads underneath, comma pickup, Mark VIII, made in England by Lesney, and it's number 50. So I've pre-drilled this one. And it's got little metal wheels. You can see this is the crimped axles, and this is going to be a non-wheel removal restoration. Say that after a few pints. So it's just one rivet on this one, and you can see there's like a little tab in the rear which holds in the back of the car. Not too sure what this hairy beast is. But hardly any paint remaining on this base. I assume it was a black base. Now, although this is a restoration, I'm not going to repaint this base black. I'm going to leave it in unpainted shininess. Bear in mind it's hidden anyway, so you'll have to let me off with that one. And of course with the main casting here. Now when I've done the Pontiac GTO a couple of months ago, and it is my biggest video and I appreciate all the people for watching it, but there was a couple of bits that I'd done down in my shed off camera, which a few people kind of called me out on, so I decided to try and show as much of the kind of bend back process and the A-pillar rebuild process as I can. So you can see the force that I'm actually putting into this. My hands, I'm a strong guy, my hands kind of shaking there almost, with the grip, just to try and bring this back up into position. So I'm kind of comparing, just turning it around, and obviously the main thing was trying to get this perpendicular, the roof line perpendicular with the door line. Perpendicular is probably the biggest word that I know, and I think I've used it correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong. But as you can see there, it's straight, two parallel lines. So now I know where I need to build the A-pillar. And before I went any further, there was literally, 2.3% paint remaining on this casting. So I mixed up a batch of paint that I felt was close enough for me. Don't ask me the ratios, it's the majority of white with a dab of black, a dab of red, a dab of orange and a dab of brown. perhaps could have been a little bit darker, but I wondered whether that dark, dirty bit, you know, was lighter 50, 60 years ago anyway. So now here's another little change. Now I usually 99% of the time use caustic soda. Some of you guys would have watched a video recently where I used this very paint stripper, but I kind of submerged the whole car into the paint stripper, and it did, well, it did nothing. Absolute diddly squat. But there was a couple of people that said, you know, did you read the instructions? And no, I didn't read the instructions. I just thought, this is super strong paint stripper, put it in and it'll work. I didn't, you know, I'm a man, I don't read instructions. But a couple of people mentioned that it actually needs oxygen for the process to work. I didn't know that. It didn't even cross my mind. So I thought, okay, well, what I'll do this time then is I shall paint it on with an old paintbrush and see whether it'll work. Now, to be honest, I'm holding my fingers there. I got a bit on my finger. Do you know what? It was burning. And I'm thinking, oh, maybe this is working then. If it burns my fingers after a few seconds, perhaps it will, you know, pull the paint off for this casting. Now, the base of the car had no paint on it, but I thought, well, whilst I'm here, splosh a bit of this on. If there is any paint remaining, it will take it off. Or if there is any gunk or crap or whatever is on there, you know, it might help. And it did work a little bit. This was after a short period of time, and you can see some of the paint has lifted. To be fair, it's not a lot of paint on there, but still. And after a bit of a wash, you know, there's still a lot of paint remaining there, but I felt that my fake Dremel with real Dremel steel wire piece would get this buffed up nicely. And with metal wheels and a bit of a polish on that base, I was very happy with this. And with the kind of result of that, or the outcome of that, I thought, yeah, I'm not going to take these wheels off. I'm not going to paint that base. I'm going to leave that in that kind of shiny raw state. But let's get to the repair. Now, this is my tin of cotter pins. Some people call them split pins. I think it depends on which side of the pond that you're on. So I'll let you fight it out down in the comments below, as you always do. But I'm going to speed up this process. I'm going to show you, but I'm going to speed it up because otherwise it's 10 minutes of watching me struggle to get this tiny piece of metal to fit. Now, of course, you can always slow down your browser if you really want to watch it in real time. I think it's at 4 times speed, so watch it at 25% and then you'll watch it at real time. But, you know, first of all, I simply cut the piece down to size, or probably at around 110%. Because where I cut it, the ends are sharp. So I put it in my vise here, and with a file, I just take that sharp edge off. And I also kind of round it off because I want space for both glue and baking powder. I'll use the mix of glue and baking powder to hold this in position. So you can see there that I'm pretty happy now with the size. And I'm going through my little tray here of super glues, and all the bloody lids glue themselves on, which is a nightmare, but as you can see, use my vice to pop that off. And then just put a liberal amount of glue into the area, and then for a while fart about trying to get it in position. It kind of glues itself to my tweezers, it glues itself to my fingers, and this is why I don't like to do it on camera, because it's a nightmare, and it doesn't make for good viewing, I don't think, but you know, we've popped it in there today. So you'll now see with the glue, obviously still very wet, gone over it with the baking powder, and that mixture dries fast and it dries hard, and it gives me something now to rub down and kind of get smooth. And I've also got super glue all over my fingers now, but you can see how, you know, I pushed on that quite hard then, and it's solid. So I borrowed my wife's nail file. She's been asking where it is. I've told her I don't know, so please don't tell her. And then as easy as that, there was a little, obviously where the roof had bent one way and then I bent it the other way, there was a crack in that roof line on the back. Well, I don't know what it's called on a pickup. Would that be the B pillar? Normally it'd be the B pillar on a car, so perhaps it's the B pillar. So where the B pillar meets the roof, there was a crack, and that just filled in nicely. So just a couple of minutes later, after going over it with the files there, and it's coming along pretty nice, and you know, I accept this. It's an honest repair. It's never going to be perfect, you know, it's been stamped on, but it's a good 95%er. And 95% is good enough for me. So we'll go now to the Tamiya Fine Surface Primer in grey. No real reason to use grey other than it was the first one that I picked up and it's nearly empty, so I thought I'd just finish this one off. So go with quite a liberal amount, covering the whole car. Of course, Matchbox back in the day, 60 years ago, didn't primer the cars, but well, you see yourself, there's no paint left on this. Had they primed it, perhaps it would have been in better condition today. So I'll give it that coat of primer. You could just have seen, if you rewind a little bit, or just see there on the back left hand side of the car, there was a little bit of pitting, and that's why, which is very rare for me, I went back over the car with some wire wool just to take out some of that imperfection. And actually, the reason why I kind of, you know, showed this on camera so much like this, doesn't it look cool? It looks like it's I don't know, it looks like it's been sat in the Arizona desert or something like that. So it gives me an idea actually for a future project. But anyway, I've now got the colour in my airbrush, and we shall pop this on. I'll show you the first coat. I think it was 4 coats on this one, and I also went with, after it had dried, a Tamiya TS13, just to get that nice shiny. So, the following day, the base nice and tidy. After 4 coats and a little light paint there on the front grille. But just giving you a little reminder of what she looked like. And this is the final result. To be honest, I was thinking about doing a bit of a custom, only just to change the colour, because I just think it was a hideous colour. But actually, now looking at it, I quite like it, especially with the metal wheels. It's a very early one, and this fix in the A-pillar. Yeah, it's not 100%, but like I say, 95% is good enough for me. But anyway, take this opportunity to thank my Patreons. They really have helped me out this month for some new supplies. And then thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you'll stick around for the next one.